for the opportunity. Rentworks is a rental finance company that has been going for 21 years. We are an accredited finance partner for Cisco, and we've got great offerings for customers that purchase Cisco technology. So I just wanted to touch on, just obviously from a finance perspective, and the benefits that it has on your customer. I think the key factors to look at is, in the current economic state, no business has really planned or budgeted for what has happened to us and what has hit us. So if you look at the costs of PPE equipment that we've had to go in before allowing staff back into our offices, there's a whole lot of cash that has had to be outlaid to ensure that our premises are 100% safe for our staff to come back. So you'll find that a lot of customers don't have excess cash to purchase assets. So this is a great opportunity to say to your customers, we have finance solutions available for you. Rather use your cash for other activities within your business, and let's do a finance solution. I mean, why would someone want to pay cash for an asset that depreciates? I think that's one of the key things just to make mention of. And, you know, sometimes you find if you don't really understand a finance solution, you're not going to sell it. That's why we're here to assist you. We're happy to have calls with your customer, and to go through the various finance solutions, to try and help you. We want to be seen as a value add to your business, that you can go to your customer and offer him alternative solutions. So taking finance into account, obviously you're saving them and you're managing their cash flow. You can offer them one solution, one payment, with one debit every month. So there's a number of value adds that go into offering a finance solution to a customer. I think one of the first programs I want to mention is EasyLease. EasyLease is an offering to customers that purchase 70% Cisco and 30% other. So just to give you an idea, so remember, I'm not a technical person. You're going to go in and you're going to do an audio visual setup in a boardroom for a customer, and everything is Cisco technology except for the screen. Let's say the screen is a Samsung screen. So if that falls into 30% of the cost price of your solution to the customer, it can still fall into the benefits of these great rates that we offer. Just to go through to touch on what the rates are. So your 0% offering is over 12 months. Now, this is totally unheard of, and you'd think, how on earth could we offer such brilliant rates? So we're here to assist the Cisco partners in order to obviously sell technology. So there are a number of options in terms of the financing. So I just want to touch on a couple of things. So we're looking at deals from anything from 120,000 to 5 million that fall into the EasyLease program. But just remember, if you have a transaction, let's say for 80,000 Rand, we're not going to turn you away, because remember, that's a foot in the door, and obviously bigger things to come for that particular company and your business. So we're here to assist you. We don't want you just to shy away when you see the amount of the solution. Rather refer it to us, and let's see how best we can solutionize for you and your customer. The other thing I wanted to mention, when we deal with the customer, we have a set criteria. So taking into account that business needs to be trading for 3 years with a turnover of at least 2 million Rand. And the reason why we do that is because we fall out of the CPA, NCA requirements. So we want to be able to, when we vet the customer for a credit facility, is to have 2-year comparison financial statements that are in excess of 2 million Rand. So that's one of the biggest criteria. If you as a partner don't fit into that criteria, don't worry. If you're an accredited Cisco partner, we'll deal with you. And obviously, we assess the end user, who is your customer, from a credit perspective to get a facility in place. Just to give you an idea now of the rates, so I mentioned to you the 12 months is at 0%, 18 months is at 3%, 24, 5.5%, and our 36-month option is at 7%. So just remember, prime is currently at 7.25. So I think us as the consumer are extremely lucky that the interest rate has dropped so much. So it's still subprime rates, which is extremely competitive. So taking into account your traditional bankers, so your Standard Banks, Nedbanks, FNBs, they don't really like financing IT equipment. So us as a rental offering company and having these rates, it is phenomenal. So we're extremely competitive. We can compete against the bigger banks because they won't be getting subprime rates on IT equipment. So I think this is a great value add for your customers. The other thing is let's look at exceptions. So you may have a customer that wants to fund something over 5 years. More than happy to look at that. So remember what will happen there due to cash flow, the actual rental will reduce. The rates won't be as fine as this, but obviously it would be a lot better than what they would normally get if they had to go in and just do straightforward traditional funding. Any questions so far with regard to Easy Lease?
Yes, I've got one.
Yes.
Yes. Does this only apply to equipment or does it also apply to services?
Okay, so it does only apply to equipment. So let me tell you what else we could do. If you have licenses, we could do it. Okay, so remember with licenses, they're non-transferable. Okay, so we would enter into a loan agreement, but we would still apply the same rates. Okay, so when it comes to services, I just want to give you a scenario. Let's just say you were doing, again, an audio-visual setup, and you've got hardware, and you had a bit of licenses, and then you've got your monthly managed service. We could take that fee and include it into the rental, collect from the customer, and once the customer pays us, we can pay you. Because that is your managed service cost is a monthly cost that you're charging your customer, so you only expect it from them on a monthly basis. If you're talking about, let's say, like a back-to-back services from an OEM, that's something that's standalone. We unfortunately can't finance that as a standalone. But if there's a way that we can look at, if there's hardware, there's a bit of licenses, and there's a little bit of services that we can try and see if we can maneuver into the deal, then we can assess it for you. But as a pure standalone, unfortunately, we can't do services on its own. Does it answer your question?
No, that answers me, because my interest was, for example, most clients do not just request a drop off of equipment. They basically package it with services included, and that was my question around that.
Yeah, so there we would definitely be able to assist you. So just on that question, because I mean that's a great question, a different scenario. So let's just say you as the partner were happy to take on the credit risk. We could enter into an agreement with you, and you could do a sublease to your customer. You would then obviously enter into some managed service agreement with your customer. Okay, and you would then collect directly from them, we'll collect from you. If at any point your customer doesn't pay you, you would still have to pay us, so you would become our underlying debtor. And a scenario like that could work is, firstly, if you as the partner are happy to take on the risk for the customer, so let's just say you've been dealing with a customer for years, you've got a payment history with them, so you're happy to take on the risk. From a financial perspective, your company meets the minimum requirements in order for us to fund the solution, then great. That would be a scenario where your services to them, like you say, you're an outsourced service partner to them, and there's minimal amounts maybe of hardware that you're doing, and that you want to fund it with us, but you would enter into an arrangement with them and collect directly from them. So there's so many different scenarios and in forms of security that we can take. So always happy to have a discussion. When you come across a new customer and you've got an offering, let's see how best we can solutionize that with you and assist you. Okay, then the other great news is if you do conclude an Easy Lease deal with Rentworks, we'll pay you a rebate. So the rebate is small, it's 0.25%. But remember, in today's time, I think every little cent counts. The most important thing around this rebate offering is that you have to register. So we do have a brochure that talks around rebates, and it does state on there in terms of where you need to go onto PPE to register. This is an annual registration. So as we all know, Cisco's financial year ends coming up at the end of July. So if you've already registered, in August, you're going to have to register again for the new year going forward. This offering, so from an easy lease and the other offering we have, which I'll chat to you now about, is only available in South Africa. Okay, if you have a customer that is based in South Africa, but the kit is going to go outside of South Africa, that's fine. We obviously just need to understand the risks, which country it's going into, the flow of funds, and so forth. So it's always nice to get a better picture of the offering, and then we can obviously let you know which is the best way to go. Okay, the other program we have is called the Commercial Payment Option Program. So for short, it's called CPOP. So this is really exactly how RentWorks works. So what we do is when we get a transaction or a quote from a partner, we look at the asset and we see what would that asset be worth in 3 years' time. So what the fair market value would be, and we would take a percentage investment into that deal. So to give you an idea, we've got a bond for 100%. Remember, you as the partner are going to get paid out 100% on delivery, and your customer is going to repay, let's, for example, 80% over 3 years. Okay, so we've reduced that already by 20%. It reduces their cash flow. At the end of the term, we're going to take that equipment back, we're going to refurbish it, and we're going to on-sell it. And that's only when RentWorks really makes their money in this type of scenario or finance solution. What could happen at the end of the term? Let's just say everything's working well for the customer. He can opt to extend it, or he can settle it, or we can go in and do a complete refresh. So the relationships we build with our partners is assisting you in locking a customer into a deal for 3 years. Before expiry, we're going to phone you and say, remember this customer we went out to see, the solution we did, it's up for renewal. Let's go in and see if we can get a refresh, because everybody wants new business. So we do that jointly, or but from our point of view, it's that's the kind of relationship we want to have with the partner. We want to be able to go in and say to you, refresh time, let's go and chat to them and see. But in those 3 years, we've continuously been keeping up to date with them and assisting them with other solutions. So that's how we want to build the relationship and become a value add to you as the partner. This payment CPOP option is over 36, 48, and 60 months. The minimum deal size there is 5 million. It goes up to 75 million. The main factor of this offering is it's got to be 70% hardware. So if you recall what I just said just now, because we take an investment in the asset, there has to be a large hardware component in order for us to take an investment in. Okay, so we will obviously ask questions about the kits and say, what do you think the fair market value is? At the end of the term, if the customer returns the kit to us, would you be able to assist us in reselling it? Those type of things. So that's this offering. So remember, we've got CPOP and we've got Easy Lease. But again, we're flexible. So if you come to me and you say to me, the customer wants it over 54 months instead of 60 months, and he wants ownership at the end, we can structure it that way. Okay. The key factors to understand what is the customer's drivers from a financial perspective. Don't expect you to ask the customer those questions. That's what we're here for, just to understand, is it rates? Is it cash flow? Is it off-balance sheet structure? So it can become very technical, but that's why we're here, because we want to assist you with ensuring that you're putting the best solution forward to your customer. Because I think just in summary, the two programs, you've got Easy Lease. So we've got 0% over 12 months as a great offering. We've got a partner rebates that you get 0.25% if you conclude an Easy Lease deal. 70% Cisco kit, 30% other. Any deals below 5 million rand. And then the other offering is the Commercial Payment Option Program, CPOP. They're obviously flexible in terms of how we structure it. We do take an investment in the asset, so we would like the asset back at the end. But if the customer wishes to take ownership or to settle, we're happy to do that and discuss that with them. I don't know if there's any other questions that anybody has. I think I've touched on just about everything.
Okay. If anybody has any other questions, like Nadine said earlier on, and sorry, good morning, everybody. Please, you're welcome to put the questions in the chat box at any time, and we will obviously respond to them and answer them as soon as possible. Candice, thank you very, very much for your time and for sharing some information with us. Love talking money on a Friday.
Yeah, nothing like that, eh? Great. Thank you, guys. I really appreciate it. So, Nadine, I know that you would probably share my email address with everybody that's on, because I will be dialing out. Remember what I said, I'm not a technical person, I'm finance. But thank you again for the opportunity, and would love to hear from you all with regards to doing some finance solutions for you.
Thank you very much, Candice.
Thank you so much,
Candice.
Thank you.
Let me direct this question maybe to Nadine or Robert. Are you guys able to share perhaps a few documentation around what Candice has just presented to us, so that, because we obviously will forget what she's presented, to be good to have a copy so that we're able to explain this to our clients?
Yes,
so I actually do. Yeah, so Nadine, what we can do, like we've done in the past, if I get the email list, then I send out a mailer. I'll give you the customer-facing brochures. I'll give you your brochure around the rebates. I'll give you a link to a digital calculator that can also help you if you just want to go in and do some numbers. So as soon as I get that list of attendees, then I'm more than happy to send out a mailer to all of you with some collateral.
Perfect. Thank you so much, Candice.
Okay, great. Thanks all. Take care.
Thanks so much.
Bye.
Okay, then I just want to quickly ask, are there any technical people? Because I see mostly we've got salespeople on the call. So I think we'll just carry on with the sales session. The technical session wasn't going to be much different. So I think Robert, if we can just keep everybody in the same room, if that's fine with you, and then we won't do the breakout session.
That's absolutely fine with me.
Perfect. Thank you so much. Robert, over to you.
Fantastic. Good morning, everybody. On this cold winter morning, you would have seen earlier on I wasn't wearing a jacket. I had to go grab one of those. I saw Brian have banners in a t-shirt, but hey, I don't have those muscles to protect me. So yeah, good morning, everybody. Thank you, first of all, for making the time to be with us this morning. Now that we understand that the financing options are available, we'd like to take you through a presentation to let you know what's available to sell to you. As we know, COVID is upon us and will be for probably the next 2 to 3 years, which has meant that we've had to look at different ways of now having to obviously work remotely. I'm sure a lot of us are dialing in from home at the moment, and we'd just like to share with you from Cisco point of view what you as our customers have access to in terms of technology, both on-prem and cloud technology from Cisco, that you obviously have access to be able to sell. Speaking about the new environment that we're working in, versus the traditional workspace where everybody was going to the office on a day-to-day basis and maybe working from home occasionally, we're obviously all now sitting in front of our PCs where we're sitting in front of a screen, a keyboard, and a camera, and that just leads to the slide saying that the workplace has now evolved. And work has now become an activity as opposed to it being a place, a formal environment in terms of having an office. Now, what that brings us to is that there's different technologies for obviously for you to be able to connect and work from home or work from any environment that you are in. And these Cisco has then split it up into what they call personas. which gives you an idea of what are the different ways of you being able to connect, collaborate, and to be able to work from home. One of them being an always-on environment, which is sort of typically for people who are not too technical, where they've got a setup at home, in terms of IP phones, they've got a laptop, and everything is there already set up for them. They don't need to sort of go up and set it up and that kind of thing. Sort of they just have everything available to them already. Then we also look at sort of an on-demand, which is, let's say, for instance, a company has provided a device to somebody, like I'm one of them, where you've given a laptop, a tablet, or a cell phone or whatever, and the company has then gone ahead and loaded all the software that you will need to be able to access your internal services, and that kind of thing. And then we also look at your bring your own device, where a lot of people are now opting, obviously, and especially Apple users are opting to use their own devices because they're more comfortable with it. And that also creates a bit of a challenge in the fact that as a company now, you've got to get these devices to comply with your internal security. And obviously from Cisco, there's a lot of programs available to you in terms of software to be able to secure remote work and a remote device. And with that being said, what we aim to do with all of these technologies is that we just want to be able to let you understand that you've got access to give your employees or people in your company connectivity, but you're also able to secure all devices, whether it be VoID on-demand devices, and also you're able to help your people to collaborate, giving them access to the applications that they need to work. Now, if we look at the three different personas, this is just sort of giving an indication of what they look like. So from when we look at an always-on persona, we're looking somebody who's connecting through a WAN VPN, or they might have physical devices in their premises, like a IP telephone, for instance. Now, with that being said, and the security around it, we've got interesting applications that you can use. One of them being Duo, which is a dual authentication application, which we'll take you through a bit later and give you some details on that. We also look at Cisco Umbrella a bit later in this presentation, which helps you to protect you, as you're going out to the internet from a DNS point of view. And it's one of the few only sort of services that Cisco provides. And then we've got Cisco AMP, which is anti-malware protection, which protects your endpoints. And that being said, it gives you a sort of idea that we've got a full range of products to protect you holistically as someone who is a remote worker. And then we look at your on-demand persona. There, what you'll see different is that you'll have things like AnyConnect, which is obviously the VPN platform that you can use from Cisco to make sure that you've got secure VPN connections both in and out. And then when we also look at things like bringing your own device, there I'd like to bring to your attention, we've got obviously Cisco Teams, Cisco WebEx, which makes a collaboration and sort of presentations like this. I mean, today we're using a WebEx, easy for you to be able to collaborate, host your meetings, and that kind of thing. Okay. This slide basically just gives you a bigger sort of indication of how with the products you have available, we've got increased capacity, where we'll be able to do things like you've got products like Cisco Meraki, which gives you your SD-WAN capabilities. You've got products like your ISR, which protects you from a sort of on-prem solution. As I also explained, products are available, which is your AnyConnect VPN, Umbrella Duo. But you've also got products like App Dynamics, and yeah, there's a whole sort of plethora of applications and products that are available to you to help either make you collaborate, secure your remote working, and to be able to use the facilities at your disposal. Now, if you look at the slide, it gives you a sort of a summary of all the products that we are going to go through today. Anything from your WebEx Teams and meetings to, like I mentioned before, Cisco Duo, and also Meraki System File Manager. We will be also looking at some of the on-premise devices, which is your Cisco RV units, and we'll be going through some of the nice speeds and feeds there. So, I'm going to ask you here to please, throughout here, pay attention. There's a lot of information for us to share. At any point in time, please do not hesitate to ask us any questions. And we will also be later sharing, links where you can go out and find this information for yourself, because like I said, this presentation is filled with a lot of information. This is going to go from an access point of view. What you always have engineers who will always be there to assist you when you do need to go to clients and you don't have the technical resources or skills. We do have the technical resources or skills that we can avail to you, where we can go to your customers, do site visits. We can do things like network audits. And, that's why I want to introduce you to Sia today, who will be taking you through the Meraki solutions, and we'll just give you an indication of what's available. And then you'll also be able to see in terms of, technical, what we can offer to you. Sia, are you there? No? Okay, I'm not picking up Sia. PK or Tony, are you there by any chance? Hello, guys. Anybody?
Hi, Robert. I see that Sia is online. I'm just not sure whether Sia.
Hi, Sia, can you hear us, or can we hear you?
Yes. Hello, everyone. Can you hear me?
Fantastic. Morning, Sia. How are you?
Yes, we can hear you.
I'm good, thanks. How are you?
Fantastic,
Robert,
man.
this section is Tony's section. My section would be the firewalls.
Oh, my apologies. My apologies. Tony, are you there? Tony?
I don't see Tony online, nor do I
Okay,
see
that's
PK
absolutely
online.
fine. That's a shame. Okay, then what we'll
We
do,
could maybe just come
that's
back to this
fine.
portion. I think they just I
That's
think they're
absolutely
having
fine. I can circle
connectivity
back.
issues.
Yeah?
Tony sent me a message.
Okay, no, that's
Okay.
absolutely fine. Okay, so what I'll do is that we'll come back to the Meraki section. Then let me also just start with the Cisco business section, and I was going to obviously do this after Meraki. So as we know that small businesses has now become, one of the biggest growing sort of sections within the market. I think it's currently the industry, and I just want to give you some stats in terms of what it looks like. Second. So currently we're looking at, in terms of the industry, it's a $630 billion industry in terms of small business. So that to me says that, the pie is big enough for a lot of work to be done, but also it's big enough for everybody to be able to go out there and really, get the business that's available there. One of the other things I'd like to mention in terms of growth, it's got a compound annual growth of 4.2%, which means that this market is steadily growing, as opposed to enterprise, which is probably flattening out a bit. And what I'd like to do here is just maybe share with you some of the small business products that we have, to your availability, in terms of networking, where we've got anything from your LAN switching to your routers and to your access points. Now, what you'll see here with the slide, in terms of your managed stackable switches, we've got anything from your 550XG series, but starting obviously at your 350 series. These switches are all advanced layer 2 and also basic layer 3 switches with obviously high performance. And one thing to mention about the small business range is that in terms of looking at against the enterprise class of things, you're basically getting enterprise class device at a small business price. And you know, that to me is something that's very important, that you need to realize that a lot of customers, when they do look at Cisco, you know, the narrative out there is that Cisco is expensive, which is actually a myth. And you know, with the small business, I'd like to dismiss that at this point in time, because like I said, when it comes to our small business range, you are receiving enterprise class grade business switches and routers at a fraction of the cost. Okay. Now, one of the things also that you see here on this slide is that one of the unique things we've got is our Cisco dashboard, which is a management portal, which gives you one pane of glass to be able to manage all these devices, you know, across in one platform. It used to be previously called Cisco Find It, which will now be rebranded as Cisco Business Dashboard. And with this, you're able to do sort of provide, you know, a managed service to your partners. You know, so if you're a small business and you're looking out at sort of delivering more of a service-based offering to your partners, you're able to use something like a Cisco Business Dashboard to transition to, you know, from being someone who typically sells and will drop kit in a client environment to sort of buying the equipment yourself and providing a managed service to your partners, knowing that very well, that, you know, you're now doing things like getting renewable income every annual renewable income. So, you know, and when we look at things like, and later on what we'll go through is we'll show you our RV series, which I'd like to take you through now. So we've got an RV series router. Now this RV series router is a powerful small business router, which does actually not only site to site, but also does VPN IPsec, and also does entry-level AnyConnect, which we know typically is only accessible through your bigger enterprise devices. But now you're getting that sort of enterprise technology in a small business range. It also offers you a business-grade firewall, with simplified access control, where you're able to, you know, make sure that you're providing access to only people in your environment, and you're able to control that using obviously access lists and such in a small business router. You know, one thing about it, and when I mentioned powerful, you're looking at something, you know, up to 600 megabits throughput per second on IPsec, which shows you that you know, the value for money that you're getting out of the small business range is phenomenal. Okay. And what I'd like to do now, I'm not too sure, is Tony back? Tony, are you there? Okay, seems that Tony's still not with us.
I'll get a hold of Tony for you, Robert.
Okay, fantastic. Thank you very much. Okay, so what I'll do is continue. We're looking now at the wireless portfolio that's offered by Cisco. And also, like I said, Cisco Business and Small Business has a range of products that we can sort of, you know, at your offering. A second. There we go. When we're looking at the key features for wireless, one of the biggest things that we need to understand is that security is, you know, in this day and age, as we understand with things like ransomware and the like, is of paramount to any organization. And one of the biggest technologies that Cisco obviously have is, you know, they've got technology in terms of making sure that any Wi-Fi device that you have deployed in your environment, you have access to technology that's very secure. You know, and one of the things that you're seeing here on the slide is that in terms of flexible management options, it makes it into, you know, when you've got a dashboard to be able to deploy devices, it makes it much easier to manage, meaning that you don't need you know, technical resources that are costing you too much to try and manage a wireless environment. You know, Cisco makes it very easy by providing simple dashboards, you know, click and point to set up and to manage. You know, that being said, it also gives you, you know, excellent analytics and reporting capabilities for you to be able to see what your users are doing online, where your threats are, and for you to be able to manage it very quickly. And the experience is very, very simple from that point of view. When we're looking at the mesh technology, one of the things you'll see later is, we've got devices that can actually extend your Wi-Fi network in terms of an extender, whereby that extender will allow you to plug in devices and use it as a normal LAN port. So, some great technology coming out here. What I'd like to show you, and some more of the sort of high-end technology that we're talking about is, traditionally what you'd have is that you'd have to have connecting your access points. You typically need a router, and then from your router you need a switch. Whereas right now you can literally extend your network, taking it directly from the router in a mesh topology, and giving it a wireless uplink for you to be able to deploy simply and easily without having to rely on a lot of cabling, whereby you've got one device managing your access points, and you get to run less cable in your environment, which makes your setup much easier and much simpler to deploy. When we're looking at the workspaces, we are able to scale very easily in terms of technology. Anything from a small environment to a much larger environment, using your Cisco small business range. Anything from and as it says there, 100 to 25 to 100 devices. Using something from your small business. So you don't necessarily need to have a sort of an enterprise high-priced device to be able to deploy in an environment where you can use up to have up to 100 users to connect. And the nice thing about this, as I mentioned before, with your Cisco dashboard, you're able to manage this in a very simple manner, using a graphical interface, and less skills and that are required.
Robert?
Yes?
PK is available online for you. Sorry, Tony is
fantastic.
just having some technical difficulty joining, but PK is available.
Okay, fantastic. PK, are you there?
Yes, I'm here, Robert.
Hello.
Robert, can you hear me? I'm here.
Fantastic. Yes, fantastic. Yeah, can you assist me out here?
So now the previous slide shows that when you're connecting your wireless business access point to your environment, traditionally, like Robert said, that you will need 3 links to actually be able to provision this kind of setup, whereas right now you only need 1 link from the access point to the router or switch, and then from there the other switches can gain connectivity through the 1 point that is connected to the directly connected to the router or switch. So it depends on what kind of environment do you want to configure your devices with. And again, it all depends on the customer requirements, because we always need to make sure that we give the customer the solution that they require, meaning that we always need to ask the relevant questions so that we provide the right solution to the customer the first time around. Robert, you can go to the next slide. So the wireless access points that we have under the business class, you have features for set and forget installation with mobile application, meaning that you can actually bring your own device, connect to the Wi-Fi, and as an administrator, you'll be able to actually configure your access point with guest Wi-Fi. Unlike previously, you will need different kinds of AP with different kinds of features for you to be able to configure guest Wi-Fi on this AP. So right now, all of our access points, from small to medium to large enterprise businesses, you can be able to configure your guest wireless connectivity to the guest. And for Robert, please go back to the previous slide again. So with this slide, again, it shows you that you don't need 3 physical cabling for you to be able to connect all those 3 access points together. All you need is 1 physical cable, and then from there you'll be able to connect all the 2 access points to the one that is directly connected to the switch or to the router. And that technology, we call it the mesh technology. It means that even if one access point can fail, that is connected wirelessly to the other one, the other 2 access points will continue to function and provide the services throughout the entire environment. These are the indoor access points that we have under the Cisco Business Class. We've got the Cisco AC140 up until the mesh extender. So what a mesh extender does is that you can be able to provide additional coverage to areas that you do not have wireless, that you do not have physical connectivity on. So meaning that if you have a hard-to-wire area and you need wireless coverage on those particular areas, you can always use a mesh extender for you to provide wireless. And what a mesh extender actually is you can plug it onto a power socket, then from there connect an access point or a printer to it. Then from there, that particular printer or laptops that are surrounding that area can have wireless connectivity. So they range from different throughputs depending on where or which kind of environment you would like to place your access point. You will obviously choose from the various ranges that we have. You can go to the next slide, Robert. So this is the mesh extenders that I was talking about. You just plug it onto a wall socket. Then from there, you can plug in whether it's an IP phone, it's a printer, it's another access point, depending on what you want to connect within that particular area that does not have physical cabling. You can use the mesh wireless extender that we currently have under our Cisco business portfolio. You can go to the next slide. So with our wireless solutions, the nice part about it is you can be able to manage, configure, and troubleshoot your wireless environment on our Cisco Business mobile application. All you need to do is download it on your phone or on your tablet, whether it's an Android phone or an Apple phone, because right now we actually have partnered with Apple. So all of our solutions that we provide under Cisco are compatible with Apple phones and Apple MacBook Pros. So it's easy to set up. You can set up your wireless environment in minutes, management at your fingerprint, and it's easy to share, and you get the analytics that you need at your fingerprint, meaning that you can get the analytics on who is connected on the wireless network, what are they doing. They can give you up until layer 7 visibility, meaning that you can see the applications that are traversing within your wireless environment. Next slide. We're gonna go through the Firepower 1000. This is one of our Cisco next generation firewalls that we provide within our security portfolio. So with this, you can actually be able to position any of our firepower management devices or security appliances in a small business environment, medium or even large, or even a data center environment. We've got the Firepower 1010, which is our entry level device that can be used in our small business environment. Then from there, we've got up until our 9300 series, which can be used at our data center environments. Depending on what the customer is requesting, then we can be able to come and choose the right device for their environment. So within this devices, then you can be able to choose the subscriptions that you want to deploy on these firewalls, like your M for endpoints, URL filtering. And again, it all depends on what the customer has requested. Then we can be able to add those subscriptions on top of these devices. Previously, we used to have physical devices for your IPS, which will cost our customers a whole lot of money. So now Cisco has eliminated the physical part of the IPS, and now it is a software subscription, meaning that if you offer the software subscriptions to your customers, you as a reseller, you as a Cisco partner will have continuous revenue. What does that mean? It means that when you have sold subscription to your end user customer, whenever that subscription expires, it means that that particular customer will come back to you to renew those services with you. However, you always need to maintain a relationship with that particular end user so that that particular end user can come back to you. If you do not maintain that relationship, unfortunately, that end user can go to another partner to renew those services. So when we sell any solution from Cisco, kindly make sure that you maintain that relationship throughout, because in that way, it gives you the ability to get continuous revenue from that very same customer. Next slide, Robert. Then we've got the Firepower 1010 that we already spoke about, that is meant for the small business enterprises. Then within that same series, we also have the 1120, 1140, and 1150. They all depend on the firewall capacity and as well as the physical ports within that particular security appliance. So if you want a security appliance for a small business, then obviously you can choose the Firepower 1010, which will come with your 8-port and 1 gig ports and in RG45 switching ports, meaning that you can use that particular security appliance, the 1010, as a switch. Then from there, you can be able to add any other subscriptions that you can add on the 1120, 1140, 1150 on the 1010. So if your customer does not have the budget to purchase a big firewall equipment, you can always provide them with a 1010 and provide the additional subscriptions that comes with the 1010 so that they can cater for all the issues that they have in their environment. So with the 1120, the firewall throughput there will be your 1.5 gigs, your 1140 will be 2.2, and 1150 will be 3 gigs. So depending on the firewall throughput that the customer requests or the amount of traffic that they are actually pushing within their environment, then you will obviously choose the right firewall that will fit for their environment. Next slide. Then we've got this Cisco Firepower Device Manager, which this is an on-box management and API platform, meaning that you can be able to manage all your subscriptions that you have on those devices that we mentioned. So no need for you to manage all these subscriptions individually. All you will need is your Firepower Device Manager to be able to manage those subscriptions and the devices that you have on-prem. So you can have 3 branches and you can be able to manage all those physical devices and subscriptions on your Firepower Device Manager. Next slide. Then we've got a site-to-site VPN, which is easily and securely interconnect remote sites. So you can choose on how you connect your branches together. So you can be able to use a point-to-point connection, a hub and spoke, or a full mesh, meaning that if you're using a hub and spoke, you'll have to choose one security appliance as the hub, and all the other branches connecting to that particular device will be spoke devices. So depending on how you want to connect and configure your environment, you can either choose the full mesh, the hub and spoke, and the point to point. The benefit about full mesh is that everything connects to each other, meaning that you do not need to go to the head office to be able to access information or services at another branch. Everything connects to one another, meaning that if I want to connect to branch A, if I'm branch C, then I'll be able to connect directly to it instead of going to the head office. And all this has security built in on it, and it is easy to manage and configure with just a few clicks to configure our site-to-site VPN. Unlike with your traditional firewalls, it can actually take you hours or even days to configure site-to-site VPN. You can go to the next slide. Then we have the Cisco Defense Orchestrator. It's consistently managed policies across your Cisco security product. CDO is a cloud-based application that cuts through complexity to save time and keep your organization protected against the latest threat. So this is one of our Cisco security solutions that we have that is actually for free. So Cisco Defense Orchestrator is a free service. You do not need to pay for it. So you can be able to enforce any policy and manage those policies within the Cisco Defense Orchestrator. You can be able to do faster deployment when using the Cisco Defense Orchestrator, meaning that the CDO is meant for automation. It's meant to save you time, and it will save with protecting your environment, which means that it reduces the time spent on security management tasks up to 90%. So meaning that you won't be needing a physical engineer to sit in front of 17 dashboards to see what is going on in your environment and block threats and all that. Whereas if you have Cisco Defense Orchestrator, it will assist you in identifying the threat, managing your security policies that you have in your environment, and enforcing those policies. You can go to the next slide. Then CDO is supported on the platforms that we have, from your Meraki MX security appliances to your virtual security appliances that sit in the cloud, up until the 5500X. So depending on what kind of device you have, obviously we need to make sure that CDO will be supported on your device. So if you have any of this device that you see on the screen, then CDO will be supported, but you have to be using the latest version for you to be able to run CDO on those platforms. Then we've got Cisco Threat Response. It automates integrations across networks, endpoints, and cloud environments. So the key benefits there will be out-of-the-box integrations with cyber investigations included with security product licenses. So this will reduce harden of other security products. What does this mean? It will actually assist you in investigating threats within your environment. It will assist you with automating threats, meaning that they will automatically block threats in real time within your environment. It will provide you with the threat intelligence that CTR gets from Talos, meaning that if there is any new threat that is out there that we do not know about. Talos will investigate that particular threat, update their databases, update each and every security product that is available to Cisco, meaning that if CTR is available within your environment, it's online and it has internet connectivity, it will be updated with the latest threats and it will help you to block those unknown threats that comes. Unlike with other vendors, you'll have to click on the update button for you to be updated with new threats. With Cisco security solutions, it is automatically updated. You don't need to click that update button. It is seamlessly done within the cloud. Next slide. Then we go to Umbrella. Umbrella is formerly known as OpenDNS. It's security on the DNS layer, meaning that if you need complete security, then you can implement Umbrella on your environment. It will protect you whether you are on the network, on the VPN, or even when you are on your own private network at your home environment. People used to use the security proxies in their environment for them to be able to be protected. So with Cisco, now we use Cisco Umbrella, which is security in our DNS layer. So even if you already have threats in your environment and you want to implement Umbrella, Umbrella will still contain and block those threats that are already in your environment, because what it does is that it will scan all the traffic on your network at inception. Then after that, if an engineer or if any other person on your environment wants to connect to the internet, what Umbrella does is that it will go and investigate that particular domain that that person is trying to connect to. If that domain is clean, then Umbrella will open that session for that particular person. However, if that domain is deemed to be a bad domain and is hosting threats, then Umbrella will block your connection immediately. And this all happens in milliseconds. You won't even notice that Umbrella is investigating that particular site. So it will assist you with all your employees that are within the work space, which is physically in the office, or all those technicians or people that work outside of the office. What will happen is that an agent of Umbrella will be installed on their laptop. So whenever they issue a command like www.google.com, that session will first go to Umbrella. Umbrella investigate that particular domain, then it opens it up and then or blocks it. And for you as a security administrator, you can actually be able to see who is doing what, when, and how on your environment. It will give you the analytics that you need to be able to manage your environment more effectively and efficiently. Because now, if they say that PK is not being productive at work, we can actually go to PK's profile on Umbrella and see what PK is actually accessing during working hours. Then we can say that PK is going on Netflix, Facebook, then we can block those particular sites for PK, or we can include PK in a group that has restricted access, meaning that I won't be able to access certain sites within that particular group. And with Umbrella, it is easy to configure. All you need to do is point your DNS servers to Umbrella, then all your traffic will be redirected to Umbrella. You can be able to integrate your access points, whether it's Meraki or whether it's the Cisco business class access points that we have under the Cisco portfolio. You can integrate them via API with Umbrella, and your guest users that are connecting to your wireless environment will be redirected to Umbrella before they break out to the internet. So it will give you that first line of defense, deploy enterprise-wide in minutes. And like I said earlier on, it blocks domains associated with malware, phishing, command and control callbacks anyway. So it will give you that protection that you need within your environment. I said that earlier on, it acts as a full web proxy, so you don't need a work proxy anymore, because now Umbrella will act as a work proxy for you. You'll gain additional visibility via URL logging and cloud app discovery, meaning that you are able to see what everybody is doing within the environment. The nice part about Umbrella is that even if a thread was not blocked by Umbrella, it will actually tell you which solution within your environment blocked that particular thread, whether it's M4 endpoints, whether it's your firewall, whether it's any other solution, because now you have integrated all those solutions with Umbrella. They can give you those granular statistics on which solution was able to block which thread. It enforces acceptable use policy via app controls, content filtering, and URL block to allow lists. So meaning that you can be able, as a security engineer, you can be able to put in the rules in place that you are supposed to put in a firewall. So if you want to have less rules on your firewall, you can actually implement those rules on Umbrella. Why? Because all your traffic will now be traversing through Umbrella. Next slide. Cloud delivered firewall for the cloud edge. So now you can be able Can you guys hear me now? Can everybody hear me? Okay,
Yes,
good.
DK, we did lose you for some time.
Okay, I think I pressed mute there by mistake.
Oh, shame, sorry.
Yes. So now with Umbrella, you can be able to integrate your Umbrella via API to any other Cisco security solutions or any other solutions that we have within the Cisco portfolio. And you can choose whether you want to integrate it via APIs or via an IPsec tunnel, which will be secure from your device to Umbrella. It will block any other threat that you have within your environment. Then we've got Cisco deployment options where you can be able to deploy or integrate Umbrella. I did say earlier on that we can integrate it with any solution that we have within the Cisco portfolio. We've got the AnyConnect, we've got your Meraki MX, we've got your RV340s for your small business. So whether you are a small business customer or whether you are a large enterprise, with Umbrella, it's meant for any organization that needs full protection, especially protection going to the cloud. So these are the solutions that you can be able to integrate with. Just go back to the previous slide there, Robert. Then we've got Mobility Express. Mobility Express is a solution whereas you have your access point on premise without the need of having a physical wireless controller. meaning that your access points that you have will act as will act and you'll be able to configure and control all the other access points within your environment with one or two access points that are configured. So you don't need to buy a physical wireless controller. Your access points will be used as a wireless controller function. Then with Mobility Express, you can also integrate it with Umbrella. You can go to the next slide. Next slide, Robert. Then let's go to M for Endpoints. M for Endpoints is one of the security solutions that Cisco offers for our endpoint devices. It will give you full visibility, full control, and full protection on your endpoint devices. Now, with AMP, it continuously monitors your environment when a file enters into your network and when that particular file traverses inside your network. Unlike your other vendor security applications on your endpoint, they will only investigate a file at inception. Then after that, they let that file go through. So what if that file has a sleeping technique inside? It means that that file can wake up to be a threat at any given point within your environment. So with M for Endpoint, it will investigate that particular file at inception. If that particular file is unknown, it will send that file to Sandbox so that that particular file can be investigated. When the result comes through, it will either be a good file or a bad file. If it's a bad file, it blocks it immediately. If it's a good file, it will let it through. And once it lets it through, it will follow that file around wherever it goes, whether it's still good or whether it will wake up to be a threat, then it will block it immediately. It sees once and it blocks it everywhere. So if your file wakes up to be a threat, it will block that particular file immediately and it will block it everywhere where that file has been, meaning that you do not need to go and physically now have to go and put in rules and block IP subnets and all that. AMP will automatically do that for you. Next slide. Next slide, Robert. M for Endpoint has a built-in antivirus, meaning that you can choose whether you want to enable or disable the antivirus that comes with AMP. And one of the best features with that is that you won't need to be able to click on update for you to be updated with the latest threats. With the antivirus that comes with AMP, the one that's integrated, it will be updated seamlessly from the cloud, meaning that if Talos updates its database with new threats, the Cisco M for Endpoint and the antivirus that is integrated with AMP will be automatically updated. So with AMP, all you need to do is purchase it's per device, not per user, because in most cases, people will ask us questions whether it's per user. If a user has 4 devices, can you only purchase one license for that particular user? Unfortunately, not. It's per device. So if one user is using 4 devices, then you'll have to purchase 4 licenses for that particular user. Then it delivers detection, investigation, and remediation capabilities that simplify security operation functions and scale to enterprise class requirement. It will give you those analytics that you need into which file was blocked, why was it blocked, and where was it blocked, so that when your CEO or IT manager ask you why was a certain file not delivered to the CEO, you can quickly go onto the AMP dashboard, pull out that report, and that report will show them that that particular file was deemed as a threat. Which kind of a threat is it? Why was it blocked, and where was it blocked? With AMP, it will help you prevent advanced threats at the point of access and continuously monitor endpoint files. Like I said previously, that it will scan at inception and then follow that particular file around up until that file wakes up to be a threat. It contains infected endpoints and revoked network access. So if a particular endpoint contains threat, it will block all those threats, and from there, it will block or revoke network access, meaning that a network administrator or a security administrator will then have to see why that particular device is infested with threats. And if they have investigated that laptop and they are now sure that it does not have any more threats, then they can open the network access for that particular device. So you can enforce it anywhere, because now with AMP, even if your employees are not within your work environment, whether they are home, they will still be protected, whether they're on the network or they're off the network, even on the VPN. And you can be able to integrate AMP with your Cisco Duo, which is your multi-factor authentication solution that we have with your Cisco AnyConnect VPN and with Umbrella. You can go to the next slide. Talking about Duo, which is our Cisco multi-factor authentication. With Duo, you can implement Duo anywhere within your environment. It will help you to configure the access privileges, or even give you the ability to be able to have two-factor authentications within your environment. For example, if you need to access any of the applications that you have in the environment, you can choose whether you want the authentication to come via a push message, via a soft token that you can enter for you to validate access, SMS, or even a phone call, or even one of the features that you see on your screen. So depending on what kind of security level you need, you will actually implement these features. We would prefer the soft token, because soft token changes I think it's every after 30 seconds. I'm not quite too sure if it's 30 seconds or more, but then you'll know that if a person gets hold of your token and they're trying to steal it and enter it and to pretend that it's you, after 30 seconds, that particular token will expire. Then you'll have to get a new token for you to be able to access those particular services that you're trying to access on your environment. Then with Duo, they can work on any applications, whether it's your applications that sit in the cloud, applications that sit in your environment, which is in your data center or in your network room on your server. It integrates with any applications that are. You can start off with your normal applications like your Google Apps, Dropbox, AWX to your Office 365. Then from there, you can expand to your Microsoft Azure, Radius, and VMware. So it all depends which kind of applications that you have in your environment. You can go to the next slide. Access security posture. So now with Duo, it will be able to tell you if a certain device has security enabled on it. Is that particular device managed? Is it running the updated software? If not, it will recommend a software for you saying that this particular device is outdated. You need to update that device's software. It will tell you whether traffic is encrypted or is in plain text within that particular device. It will tell you if it has a password code, meaning that does it has your face recognition, or do you have to input your user code in order for you to be able to access that particular device. And it will tell you if there is security enabled or not, which is a new feature, and it's a nice feature to have, because you know that when that particular device tries to access your environment, you will know whether to trust that particular device or not to trust it, because if it does not have a password code, anybody can get access to that particular phone and try to access the services that are on your environment. Next slide. Then with Duo, we've got 3 Duo solutions that we have. We've got the Cisco Duo MFA, which is your entry level free version actually of your Cisco Duo, but only up until 10 users. If you are going to have more than 10 users, then you'll have to start paying $3 per user per month. But if you are a small company and you only have 10 users or less, then Cisco Duo will be for free. And then we've got the Cisco Duo Access that has everything that Cisco Duo MFA has and more. You can have your policy controls, your user-based policies, and so forth. And then from there, we've got your high-end, which is your Cisco Duo Beyond for your medium to large enterprises. You can go to the next slide. Remote access with Duo. So if you have any connect enabled on your environment, you can be able to integrate Duo with your any connect VPN, meaning that it will give you an extra layer of protection when entering into the VPN. And you will get a easy wizard-based configuration, meaning that it won't be that difficult for you to actually integrate your any connect VPN with Duo, because I mentioned earlier on that configuring an MPLS VPN or any VPN out there, it's quite challenging. But with any connect within Cisco, it is automated. It is, you can configure it with just a few clicks. Then you have your any connect configured on your device or on your laptop. Then from there you can integrate it with your Duo. And then from there, you can be able to choose which layer of protection you want with Duo, whether it's your two-factor authentication or whether it's your multi-factor authentication, which will give you enhanced security. Go to the next slide. And then AMP and Duo integration. This is how AMP will integrate with Duo, is that users use their devices to access the application, which is the application that will sit in your office environment. Cisco AMP running on the device detects malware, and then from there, AMP notifies Duo about the infected device. Then Duo blocks that device from accessing the applications. Then if your network administrator has a look at your device and now they deem your device as clean, then from there they can be able to open the network for you. But if they haven't, then you will still remain blocked. So this is how you will integrate your AMP with Duo, and this is how it will work. It gives you that additional layer of security that you need within your environment. You can go next. Go next.
Hi, PK. Can you hear me?
Yes, Robert, I can hear you.
Okay, fantastic. So this is where I would have picked it up, PK.
Yes, you can go on.
Due to our effort of time and where we are, what we'll need to do is that maybe the Meraki portion, because we do have another Meraki series that is running next week. So I think maybe what we'll do is that we'll just take it to there, because I'm just looking at the time in terms of how much time we've spent already. So I'll take it over from here. PK, thank you very much. Ladies and gentlemen, I trust everybody is still there and still actively participating. So when we look at our ordering, there are a lot of obviously bundles and promos that are available currently with regards to the technologies that you see right now. One of them that you see on the screen being Cisco. We've bundled it with Cisco Amp with Umbrella, giving you up to a 12% discount. We will also be sharing some information with you with regards to these promotions that are currently running. One other thing that I'd like to mention is that with the technologies that have been mentioned through this presentation, there's always an option for you to go and demo and try the applications out yourself. Because what we've seen is that with customers that we get to demo and to try the services, up to 60% of the customers end up buying. So what we'd like to do here is we'd like to sort of call out to you guys to say that go and experience the technology for yourself, so that you are able to sell it better, but also give it to your end users to be able to experience, because you're already increasing your chances to up to 60%. For your customers to be able to buy, making it very simple for you. And these are the things that are available to you as a trial basis. Should you need any information with regards to it, please do not hesitate to contact us at any point in time. Speaking about the promos that I was going to tell, that I mentioned earlier, currently what we do have, as you can see there, the Firepower series that we've discussed earlier and that TK took us through, is currently looking at fast track discounts where you can get up to 65% discount on it. ND Connect, which is the VPN client that was also explained to you earlier on, you're looking for up to 250 users. As we know that in the current environment, there's a big drive for end users to try and get their home users connected and connected securely. And with that, we were giving you up to 50% to be able to get any Connect as a VPN client to be able to use. One of the other things that was also discussed, Cisco Umbrella, which is, like I said, in terms of Cisco, there is no other sort of matching product out there in the market at the moment. And as you can see, these are some of the promotions that we are currently running, Duo and also AMP for endpoints. Should you need any information on these, please do not hesitate to call us. What I wanted to talk about also was the Meraki MX Cloud Security Bundle. As you can see there, if you bundle these with Umbrella, Duo, and AMP for endpoints, these are the discounts that you can be looking at. This is already available to you. So should you need us to provide any quotes on it, please let us know. And we will also, as I said, one of the things that we have is our technical resources who will help you to take these solutions to market and explain to your end users exactly what they're getting out of these applications. And I'm sure you've also seen some of the information that's been shared with you today. And we will be also sharing these on all our online platforms, so that you are able to easily use and share the content with your end users as well. Another bundle that you have access to is also your Firepower 1000 series, which gives you also access to Umbrella, Any Connect, and for endpoints. And you're looking at, as you can see, up to 60% discounts on any of the applications when you're bundling it with a Firepower, which you're looking at up to 65% discounts there. Okay. So when we look at the applications that have been discussed and in terms of securing your remote environment, like we said, and this is just to summarize, AnyConnect, this is obviously a VPN client to make sure that people are connecting securely, remotely into your office environment. You've got Duo Security, which is your dual authentication security, which we've mentioned all of that. Umbrella, which is your DNS security, helping to protect any traffic flowing either from your environment or coming into your environment. PK did mention previously, what Talos does is that Talos is an environment of over 180 engineers who sit and look at threats on the internet on a daily, 24 hours, 365, and they are able to pick up threats which when they do is shared through the whole Cisco security portfolio, and you've got access to that automatically. And Umbrella helps to do that through your DNS services. We've discussed AMP for endpoints, which, as TK mentioned, one of the biggest things it does is that it will look at the threat from inception when it comes into your network and will track it throughout, which a lot of the other security vendors out there are unable to do, and we're able to provide that. And yeah, unfortunately,